March 2026, Yaoundé, Cameroon, a conflict that could starve 2 billion people. This is the rice war.
It begins with a single complaint. A Louisiana rice mill owner accuses India of dumping. President Trump responds with a 75% tariff threat on Indian rice.
One local grievance, one global crisis, two worlds collide.
On one side, 5,000 American rice farmers fighting for profit margins. On the other, 800 million Indian citizens dependent on subsidized food to survive. The Merchant versus the Guardian. The accusation, predatory pricing. India allegedly sells rice at $7 for export while charging $10 at home. But here's the reality check. India buys from farmers at a fair price, then gives food to the poor at near zero cost. To the algorithm, feeding a hungry child looks like unfair trade. Here's the absurdity. The WTO calculates India's subsidies by comparing 2026 market prices against a fixed reference price from 1986 to 1988. 40 years of inflation ignored. It's an economic hallucination. Imagine paying your 2026 rent using a salary from 1986. The WTO has 3 boxes. Green, minimal distortion allowed. Blue, production limiting allowed. Amber, forbidden if over 10%. India's minimum support price mathematically breaches the 10% limit because the 1986 reference price is so low. The double standard. The U.S. government cuts checks to farmers to offset losses. Allowed. India supports prices to help farmers survive. Forbidden. U.S. pays farmers $12 billion to export. The developing world is penalized for paying farmers to eat. Trump imposes tariffs. Exports drop. Partners retaliate. U.S. farmers lose $43 billion. Trump uses tariff revenue to apply a $12 billion bandage, all while attacking India for subsidies identical to his bailouts. A masterclass in bad policy. Beyond the decimal point. 800 million lives. For Prime Minister Modi, dismantling this support system to please the WTO is not an economic adjustment. It is political suicide and a humanitarian disaster. India is not alone. It leads a rebellion of 47 developing nations, the G33 coalition, demanding the right to store food for crises without fear of WTO sanctions. If India sneezes, the world starves. India exports 23 million tons of rice annually, the world's largest. U.S. tariffs trigger an Indian export ban, creating global supply shock and famine in import-dependent nations. The affordability myth. Trump claims tariffs help Americans. Reality. Replacing 26% of rice imports overnight is impossible. The cost is passed directly to the American shopper. Inflation. 3% and rising. March 2026. Yaoundé, the room where it happens. 164 trade ministers. 2 irreconcilable worldviews. The US and EU push for market access. The G33 pushes for food security. Without a permanent solution, the WTO risks total irrelevance. Who dictates the future? The rule of law based on 1986 prices, or the right to eat? Is the market a tool to serve humanity? Or is humanity fuel for the market? This is the moral algorithm.